I spent the last year working on photography and really refining my skills, and this is how it went. So how I got into photography is kind of a funny story. I originally got a camera just because of the fact that I wanted to do video. I wanted to create content for this channel that you are watching this on. And I wasn't really sure what I was wanting to do with that, as far as whether it be vlogs, if it be like overlanding or anything kind of like that. And that's kind of what got me familiar with cameras and how I started getting enveloped into like the Sony ecosystem. And then one day, about a year after I got my first camera, one of my best friends actually asked me to do his engagement pictures. And let's just say it was definitely interesting. I knew that that job could not be done by the camera that I had. I had originally started with a Sony ZV-E10, and it was a good camera. It was a good starter camera to kind of learn things and be able to experiment on, but it wasn't really the camera that I would want to use when it comes to something like actually being a photographer. So I went on Amazon and I was just kind of looking around like what would be good? What would be a good camera that, one, I can afford, two, would actually do some decent quality photos, and it would enable me to be able to do the best job that I could. And I had the whole plan to return the camera because I ordered it, got it 2 days before the shoot, kind of messed around with it a little bit, looked up some stuff on YouTube of how to use it, and then just kind of went from there and tried to see what I could do. And so I went ahead and I did that shoot, and I actually really enjoyed it. I knew that there was still a lot that I needed to learn, but it was something that seemed fun. It was fun getting out to do pictures and seeing what I could create, and in a different way from video, because for me, I'm still currently kind of, or especially at the time, I'm way too antisocial to actually go out and record myself with the camera, just holding it out, being like, hey guys, this is Dan, so let's talk about our day. I've been trying to work on that. I need to actually sit down and try some different challenges. I want to talk to a camera for 30 days challenge, but besides the point. So it was something fun to do that I could actually do from day to day to day and not really have to worry about any of the stressful parts of it, of trying to figure out how I'm going to make something and create and not be intrusive to the people around me. So that's something that photography really helped me with, and I was very excited about that because it meant I was less likely to be burnt out on and fade away. And leading from that, I met a lot of great people, and it has opened a lot of doors for me. So the way that I really grew myself into this beginner business, I'm still definitely a beginner level business. I'm not anywhere near what some of these other creators are, where they're making tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. I'm nowhere near that. I still have my day job and my other side job, but I was able to grow into something that was beneficial and something that I can scale more. And the real starter for that was me taking my camera to UW football games. That really is where I blew up at. I was able to get in and start taking pictures of just random people. I really, really love portraits and candid portraits at that. And that's where I was really able to flourish. It was something that I didn't necessarily know I was good at until all of a sudden I was coming home and being like, oh my God, these pictures are really, really good. And it slowly started to pick up from there to where I was actually able to find different clients and people reaching out. But it was still kind of slow. It was definitely still slow. And I knew that that was something that I wanted to change. I didn't want to just get 1 or 2 jobs every couple of months and go from there. That isn't how I saw myself being able to expand and grow. So I went out and actually started meeting people and talking to them when I was at events and trying to expand like my connections and who I knew and how to kind of go about acquiring new clients. It's still something that I'm working on, but I've definitely gotten a lot better at it in the past year than I was at the beginning. I still am very antisocial, and I don't necessarily have the best way of finding out how to talk to people, I guess, if that makes sense. I still have my little bit of deer in headlight moments, but it's not as bad as it was before. I'm able to come up and be like, hey, look, my name is Dan, or Daniel, whatever you want to call me. I run Daniel D Photography, and I would really like to do some work with you, whether that be an event, some portraits, senior pictures, anything like that, depending on who I'm talking to. And in the beginning, I had to do a lot of free shoots. There was a lot of shoots that I did with my friends, and like the one that's coming to the top of my head is my friend Shelby. We did multiple shoots and they were all free so that I could get practice and be able to expand my portfolio and really be able to show off the work that I create and what I can do. So that is something that you have to start with as a beginner. Don't expect yourself to just pick up a really nice camera like this A7 IV that you're watching on here, or this A7R5 that's to my right to get the B-roll. Don't expect yourself to be able to pick up something like that and just instantly be able to produce the best quality content. That's just not how it's going to work. You're going to have to reach out to people, do free shoots, and try new things. One of the biggest things that I have done is looking at other creators on like TikTok or Instagram, seeing what they do, as well as going to different platforms like YouTube and seeing what type of editing tactics other people use. Like for me, my next plan is to figure out a way to best cull through my pictures and be able to trim the fat off, because I just take so many pictures. It's actually part of the reason that this camera that you're watching on is actually broken. The shutter in it no longer works, so I'm not really able to take pictures with it. I had to go in with a pair of tweezers and knock the shutter down so that I could be able to use it for video and be able to use the sensor. I could probably shoot without the shutter going, but I just don't really care to take that chance and have a shoot not turn out very well. So I picked up this A7R5 that is now my main camera, and I do plan on getting this guy fixed, but it's just going to take some time. And that's something that I wish I would have anticipated earlier, is being more consistent with saving funds for a camera body. Like I used a lot of the funds that I would make to buy support things like this light or the tripods that these are on and things like that, but I didn't necessarily account for my camera body just killing itself. It was not really on the agenda, not something that I had anticipated. But looking back on it now, that's probably what, if I was to start this over again and start saving, I would be putting at least half of the money that I earned away just to buy a new camera body in case of something like this. Now, I do want to get this camera fixed, like I said, and have it as a second body, but I would really like to get something additional to be a backup camera body. I may pick up something like a ZV-1 or an A7S III, or if the gods shine down on me, an FX3, to be able to do more video content in and of itself, and then just have the A7 IV as my backup photography body. But that'll take some planning and some future investment to get to that point. But yeah, I definitely want to start saving up for an additional body, get this one fixed. And that's something I would encourage you to do if you want to take this seriously, is get your like 1 or 2 go-to lenses and then pick up or save up enough to get an additional camera body. That way you have a backup if one fails, plus you have the ability to rock different lenses, because that is something that really, really sucks when you're trying to do a shoot and you have to swap out lenses. It just seems to take away and take time, and it's not as beneficial as I would like it to be. Like right now, I have my 2 go-to lenses that I use all the time on these cameras. For one, I've got the 28-70 Sigma f2.8 on that one, and then I have my Sony 50mm f1.4 on my A7R5. Now, those 2 lenses are phenomenal. I will say the bokeh on the Sony is a lot better and it is a lot sharper, but the lens that I use all of the time is the 28-70. If you are looking at picking up a lens, I would really recommend picking up like the Sigma 28-70 or a 24-70 lens, because this one is relatively affordable in consideration of how expensive Sony lenses are. I really wish that this would quit turning off behind me, because it's getting a little annoying. I want the branding to be in the video, but for whatever reason it keeps shutting off. And I've tried to adjust it on the computer, but it's just not working. So we're gonna roll with it. Anyways, back to it. If you are a beginner photographer or wanting to get into this industry, get yourself a nice body. It doesn't need to be anything crazy expensive. And I can probably dive into at least Sony bodies that I would recommend if people are interested down in the comment section down below. But pick up something that, one, you can afford, because that's the most important thing, and 2, something that you can kind of pre-plan to future-proof and build an ecosystem around it. Now, I do want to try different brands like Canon and Fuji and Luminex, but it's just going to take some time. I need to be able to expand my business a little bit more and really be able to get that foundation behind me to where I have my main stuff and then I can add fun stuff. So that's kind of what I want to do, and be able to experiment with other things, but find a brand that you like the most. For me, it's Sony, because that's just what I started with video, because video is just a little bit better on Sony in initially is what I was doing. Whereas like Canon does have better colors, but I was already so enveloped in the Sony ecosystem between the lenses that I bought for the ZVE10 and then now the A7 IV and now my A7R5, that it just wasn't feasible to change and transition at the time that this camera broke. So I just went ahead and picked up the A7R5 while it was on sale, and that's what I'm going to use as my main camera. But yeah, lots of rambling about the cameras. Pick up something that you can afford and that you can future-proof with. Don't spend like $800 or $800 or less really on a camera that you're wanting to start a business with, would be my recommendation, because at that point your phone is about the same quality, if not a little bit better. So that's probably where I would say like start out at, is like 800 and above, depending on what you want to do. If you're wanting to do video, I've seen that the Canon R50V or V50R, whatever it is a decent video camera. So that may be kind of the exception, but that is where I would suggest starting. Now, if you know something better, leave it down in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you guys think and what you know, but yeah, it is going to be kind of expensive to start with because lenses and camera bodies are not cheap. And then all of the additional stuff, like the lenses that I have all together are probably about $5,000 to $6,000 worth of equipment just in lenses. And I only have like 4 or 5. And one of them is the Sigma. And then I have a couple cheaper Sony lenses that I really need to experiment with. But yeah, it's not going to be a cheap thing. So if you're planning on getting in, making money instantly and not having a lot of money and time invested into it, it's not going to be the thing for you. So that leads me into my next topic. How much time do I spend on my photography stuff? So first and foremost, not as much as I want to. Now that's because I have my full-time job as an accountant, and then I have a side job that I can't quit, nor will they fire me from, and it's the bane of my existence that takes up almost all of my time when I come home from work. So it does take me a lot of time. I do spend probably 5 or 6 hours editing pictures every shoot that I go to, because I do probably pull and edit more pictures than I really should, and that's something that I'm going to work on. And I'm also, in my opinion, not the best editor. There's still a lot of things that I want to learn and a lot of things that I want to do. So it's going to take a lot of time, especially in the beginning while you kind of build that foundation. I've kind of got it figured out now and I have my style that I want, but I'm always open to learning and learning how to mask new things and cut out different things, and I want to learn Photoshop. So it's going to take me a little while to really develop what I am and what I have and what I want to do, but that's all part of it. It does take a lot of time, and being able to find a good way to deliver photos to your clients after your editing is a whole different topic. That does take a little bit of time too, trying to explain to people like, hey, look, I am new at this and I'm trying to save as much money as I can, but also still deliver you a quality experience, is something that needs to be worked on when it comes to that final step of editing and then delivery. So yeah, plan on taking a lot of time, watching a lot of YouTube tutorials and just experimenting. That is the way to get good at it, is just experiment, see what different things do, see how texture, clarity, saturation, vibrance, temperature, contrast, all of those things, how they affect your image, and really develop your style from there, because that is something that will benefit you. If you just go in and you're like, yep, preset here, that's just something that you don't even make, it's going to be not as rewarding in my experience, because I did start with that. Like when I did my first shoot, my first few games, I just went in and was like, okay, cool, let's take this preset that it recommends for me and put it on this picture and we'll call it good. And then there would be things that's like, I like 90% of this, but I don't like this part. How do I fix it? I have no idea. So plan to experiment a little bit and go from there. And that's another benefit to going all the way back towards the beginning of offering free shoots with your friends. I just put out on my Instagram story that I'm looking for brand ambassadors. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want consistent people that want pictures done and are willing to work with me and experiment with me, as well as not really be worried about delivering a set amount of pictures or a set thing to clients. I want to be able to use this so I can be like, okay, cool, this is what I can do with Flash. This is how I can really adjust colors and learn color theory and things from there, and not really be worried about it where it's like, okay, yeah, I botched this. I botched this completely, and now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I did this client shoot, and now I'm gonna have to refund them all the money that they spent. That's not what I want to do. I want to be able to practice and learn new things where it's a very low stress environment, and be able to expand my portfolio at the same time when the pictures turn out good. So look at, maybe once you kind of get a little bit of a footing out there, find some people that want to be brand ambassadors and that want to help you be able to go from this beginner level to that next level, and have people that are going to refer you out to new clients. That is another big thing. Word of mouth will always be some of the best. Like, I can post on Instagram, I have 1,100 followers now, but at the same time, they see my work, but it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really know. It might not be as good as this person. Whereas if you have those people that are connected, in my case, like frats and sororities that have a bunch of people that are getting ready to graduate, it's able to expand that word of mouth to where people are like, oh, hey, he did my senior pictures and look at how good they turned out, as well as he'll do it at an affordable price compared to some of the other people here who are charging 5 or 6 times what I am, and in my opinion, not delivering a product that is as nice as what I do. Now, that is all just my opinion, and of course people are going to assume I think that I'm better because I want more people. No, I definitely think that there are others that are better than me, and I will say I'm my own worst critic. There are pictures that I send out and I'm like, I fucking despise that picture, but the people post it and like, this is my favorite picture that I have ever had taken. And that really makes me feel good because it's something that I almost trashed and it becomes something that they love the most. Kind of got off topic there. I'm still kind of getting back and trying to get used to talking to a camera and creating content for this channel. I want to do more. I know I've said that multiple times, but yeah, just bear with me. We're still working on my storytelling ability, okay? I'm not good at it. We're working on it. So leading into the final thing I want to talk about that has gone into my first year of photography is, what are my struggles? What have I found the hardest in order to proceed with my next steps and be able to grow this endeavor? Well, first and foremost, it is my social anxiety. Like I mentioned towards the beginning of this video, I have a terrible time coming up and meeting new people. It is a terrible fear of mine. I don't know why. It shouldn't be as difficult as it is, but for whatever reason, it just gives me so much anxiety and stresses me out beyond comprehension. But this has kind of helped simmer that down. It's still something that I'm working on, but it has helped a lot. And I think the biggest help of that is I don't really like big crowds in general. It's something that I just have always felt uncomfortable with, but when I go to like the football games here and go to do my game day pictures, I have a couple of drinks during tailgate and then a couple when I'm at the game, and it really helps me open up and be able to talk to a lot more people and have a lot more fun. And that is one of the best ways to do it because it slowly introduces me to new people and shows me that it's not as scary as my brain thinks it is for whatever reason. And I think that is super good. I'm not saying to go get completely shithoused and then go to an event with your camera, because that can be dangerous. But if you are somebody that struggles with a little bit of social anxiety, but you have the ability, you're old enough to drink, and you're able to go into events like I am, which I'm very, very grateful for, because I know not all stadiums are the way that mine is, but maybe have a couple of drinks, relax, or go and do like a bar photo shoot. If the bars in your hometown let you be able to bring a camera in, have a couple of drinks and then offer them, be like, hey, look, would you like these pictures? I'd be more than happy to kind of give you guys these for free. I don't know how many there are going to be, but I just want to be able to come in, experiment with my camera and see how low light works, and have a couple of drinks, and that'll help you meet new people and be like, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Would you be interested in having a card or something like that? And being able to grow your business. So that's one suggestion that I have if you have social anxiety but you're wanting to get into this, is find events that you can kind of let loose a little bit. Don't get trashed. Like I said, you're carrying a very expensive piece of equipment and that's a good way for it to get broken. But find ways that help you kind of calm down and open you up. Maybe even just go with a group of friends, and that kind of opens you up that way and makes you a little bit more sociable, as opposed to just going at it by yourself, just raw dogging it and trying to meet people. So that is my first problem. My second problem that I've been struggling with is photo editing. There are things that I need to improve. I need to improve my culling, and then I also need to learn like color science and things like that to really add more depth and more things to my pictures and expand on the base that I have. So that's going to take some time, and that's going to take a lot of practice, and also kind of why I'm doing the brand ambassador type thing, to where I have people that are consistent shoots with and be able to experiment and see their opinions, because they'd be much more honest than somebody else. So that's something that I'm really hoping to improve upon in my next year. And then also improving on how people can book with me and my photo delivery process. So I do think that there is something with that where I am going to need to be able to make a little bit more money in order to improve some of those things, like the photo delivery and the ability to promote myself and run ads on, say, like Google or Facebook and things like that, to where people can actually see my stuff. So that is something I'm going to plan on saving up for, as well as the camera problems going forward. But yeah, that's a little synopsis of my first year in photography and kind of what it's like for me to be completely green and then move myself into becoming a business owner. So I hope you guys did enjoy. I do promise that I'm going to work on my production value of these videos and really improve how my storytelling goes. But that's all part of the process. Maybe next year I'll be like, this is my 1 year of video, 2 year of photography update, and kind of what I'm thinking and how it's going. So we'll just have to see from there. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video interesting. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you found it real, as opposed to a lot of these other people that are just like, this is how you do this. I'm hoping that you guys did enjoy this video. And if you want more photography content from me, hit that like button, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so that you stay up to date with all of my future videos. But with that, you guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.